Okay, so let's just stop messing around and let's discuss the most common misconceptions about implementing a WFM solution across your organization. What's your take on this one? Is there something that you have seen time and time over with different prospects, or is there something that has made an impression on you? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think by implementing WFM software, all of our problems are resolved right from the start, even
Instantly. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And the thing that I love the most about implementing WFM tools is that makes jobs redundant and we don't need planners anymore.
Yeah. So fully automated, you don't need anyone. You have an immediate ROI, right? It makes money from day one. Even before implementing it, you will make money.
Ever since the implementation, right? During onboarding, you start making money, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but all jokes aside, what would you say? Because a lot of prospects that I have talked to are actually quite worried or have quite different expectations. What would the WFM tool actually bring them? So the journey and the expectations can be quite challenging if we don't set it right from scratch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at the same time, organizations develop. They constantly change. So it's not like we set it and forget it, right? It's not like a matter of implementing it and that's it for the rest of your lifetime.
So it's interesting that you mentioned something in a little bit of a jokey way, but for me it's not a joke because this is something that we have definitely seen a lot of times. If organization or if a WFM team hasn't worked with the tool before, there is quite a big of expectation that the tool will actually automate everything.
I wish it was true.
Yeah, and yeah, that then would be out of jobs. Let's face it. Like if a tool was able to do absolutely everything that a planner or a real-time analyst or a forecaster did, we wouldn't have a job. So this is for me quite important because we can put that fear away, because I have seen quite a significant resistance to adopt a tool just because people were thinking they're gonna lose their job. And I wanna make sure we're raising that awareness as independent consultants that a tool will not replace your job. It's not gonna happen. Not now, maybe in the distant future, but for now, I don't see that happening. We would always need people that will manage the tool, that will take away the insights from the tool, and that will do something with the information that the tool provides them.
Mm-hmm. So let me start with automation is good because automation of the boring stuff, those things that not necessarily add value right away. It's a tool. A tool is nothing else than something or device or whatever to make your life easier. And so should your WFM software. It should make your life easier so you can focus on that what really matters.
In an essence, it's the same as having Excel in place. Having Excel in place will make your job redundant if we're coming from using papers before, right? Having our schedules done on a paper. It hasn't happened. Having a tool is not much different in that sense. And I think that also there is quite a big of misunderstanding about senior stakeholders, operations managers or contact center managers sometimes. What do we do with our people then? What to do with that tool? What would be the level of automation? And for me, one major thing that needs to be put out there is have your success criteria available. What do you want that tool actually to deliver? What do you want to achieve with it? Would you like to achieve accuracy? Would you like to automate, as you said, the boring stuff, the stuff that can be taken away easily by a tool? What is it? Would you like to improve your scheduling process? Would you like to improve your forecasting process? Would you like to introduce some flexibility? Would you like to empower your agents to have different options to potentially choose their shifts or to swap their shifts automatically, to request time off without necessarily going and asking the planner or their team lead? What is it that you need that to deliver to your organization?
No,
And
now you're addressing the next point, basically,
Mhm.
and that is not picking just a tool, some software, but picking the
Mhm.
right tool for you as an organization. So you're describing some requirements for the tool.
Um, yes and no. I believe that a lot of tools can cover the same functionalities to a big extent, but I would say that depending on the level of complexity that you would like to introduce, depending on your size as organization, depending on your legal requirements, it can be a massive difference from a tool to a tool. So for me, if I have a WFM software A, that's one of the big names, let's say, compared to a WFM software B, which is another one of the big names, does not necessarily bring me much information. Yes, it provides flexible scheduling. Yes, it provides automated forecasting, and I can't use it because it doesn't cover my most important requirements, which might be legal.
Mhm. Exactly. So finding the right tool for you, your organization, and
But
not just functionality wise, but also the people behind the tool.
but how do we make sure? Because this was our starting point. I think it's rather easy for users that have used the tool before because they sort of know what to look for, they sort of know what kind of questions they need to ask. But what if you never had that experience and you're just relying on a consultant who is telling you, absolutely, we're going to match your schedules, we're going to automate it, it will work like a charm. Don't worry about it.
That feels a bit salesy.
Oh, you would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think lots of organizations who acknowledge that they do not have the expertise in-house would rather reach out to someone who does have the expertise to help them to find that right tool for them.
Okay. Yeah. What if you don't have the budget to do that?
That's a good question. I think you can still find in operations with your senior stakeholders, also with your agents, you can already identify those core needs. You already have a base scheduling process, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what's right and wrong at this very moment.
And this is where I'm gonna disagree with you because I would say that I would never recommend, I would never advise for you, for your organization to replicate your current state, your current way of making a schedule to your WFM tool. Because what you want basically is a very expensive system to do the job of Excel. So why would you pay that? If you would want your WFM tool to replicate 101 your current process, just save your money, save your time, save your worries, save your irritation later on, and just stick to Excel.
Yes and no, because
Mm.
that depends on your plan, your strategy. So first of all, you're saying yes and no to my comment there, right? Finding that right tool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, saying you know what right and what is wrong in the current process doesn't mean you want to replicate it.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you lack flexibility in your scheduling process, but everyone is on fixed shifts,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could still make sense to implement a tool replicating your current process, but then identifying where you need to improve. based on data which is not at present. That could mean you have the same shifts, but I start forecasting and I can show the entire business, hey, if we start moving shifts in a certain way, or we have this kind of flexibility, we could improve customer satisfaction or reduce abundancy or whatever it is.
I follow you. I'm on 10% green level with you, but
it's a start.
Again, it doesn't happen often. Let's leave it at that. But the thing is that even if you would like to introduce some flexibility and you have fixed schedules, you still want to do something differently, right? And this different bit might come in a different functionality of that system. It could be that you automate your forecast and you just continue doing your schedule as you're doing right now. It could be that you're doing automatic time off processing. It could be that you're empowering your agents to swap shifts or do something else. This is still something that is not the same process as you're currently having. And to mention one more thing on top, because again, speaking from experience, speaking from a lot of headaches, if you're gonna do everything manually the absolutely same way that you're currently doing, whether this is just moving shifts here and there manually moving the breaks within those shifts, I personally don't understand what do you want to achieve.
There could be numerous things. So I agree with you, first of all. At the same time, I think there's also this fine line, right? So if your core goal, your objective is introduce flexibility, but during and right after the implementation of your tool, you only achieve to get insights based on your data, right? You have not achieved that kind of flexibility right away, but you did take a huge step, a huge leap forward to eventually get there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, absolutely. And the other thing that I was thinking about is it also depends on your size and your growth trajectory. Because if you have a single person in your organization, but you're recruiting massively, and you know that at some point in next year show, you're gonna end up with, I don't know, 200 agents more, and then your structure within the organization will change, then you would need that support to come from somewhere. So you need to be able to scale up easily as well. And another thing that really worries me, and I often talk about that, and I'm often posting about that, using planners as administrators. This is something that's going to fire me up. I'm going to go on a 3-hour ranting session right now. It doesn't make any sense to use your planners as administrators, whether this is in your system, whether this is using Excel, whether this is making your schedules on paper. These planners have so much insight and so much that they can bring to your business, or potentially cost you money if they don't do so, that you need to empower them and enable them to do their job the best way possible. And copy pasting shifts, manually moving breaks here and there, for me, this is not, it is part of planning that you should get rid of and automate it as much as possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is why I said I welcome automation. Let's get rid of the boring stuff and focus on those aspects where you, as a WFM pro, can add value.
I so agree with this one, and I absolutely love it. So where are we ending up? We have it is not possible to automate absolutely every single thing that you're doing, and we're definitely not gonna get rid of your job. And I think this is expectation that we need to manage also with the senior stakeholders. We are not trying to get rid of people, and by automation, that doesn't mean that you need one planner less one real-time analyst less, or stuff like that. No, we just need to utilize them better so they can bring more value to the business.
Yeah, I think, don't rush into a decision when choosing your software solution, and perhaps an implementation partner. I think you already mentioned it just now, but expectations. Usually, misaligned expectations is a huge, huge deal, a deal breaker, right?
Absolutely.
I would also say go for a good project management, one way or another. This could make or
Yeah.
break your implementation there.
I am gonna step aside from that topic because the thing that I am thinking about immediately when you're mentioning that point is that every single time when I have been discussing implementations and onboarding with prospects, usually the top one question is how soon, sorry, we can get this tool in place. Like how soon we can be live. And it's always the expectation, like even it's the most intuitive tool and your planners are the best ones, they still have business as usual tasks and they need to do their part. So even if implementation will basically take you just a week, for example, it doesn't happen like that. Stuff happen, planners get pulled out of sessions, they're being asked urgent stuff, so you need to account for the time that they would need to spend for their usual and regular tasks.
Yeah, and spend enough time on both the discovery and the whole preparation for this implementation.
Yeah, and somebody needs to keep in check both sides, also the vendor and also the internal employees, planners. How are they advancing with the implementation?
Yeah, include everyone and make a very clear plan with your vendor or implementation partner in terms of what to expect. Because you do not only want to get trained on how to use the system, but you want to get some best practices in the industry, right? Tailored to your organization. And this is, for me, the true consulting part.
I feel like we're steering away to a different topic that I'm so excited to talk to you about, but let's keep our eyes on the prize here. What do we see as another misconception about introducing WFM tool? And I believe we touched upon there is one fit or one size fits all. And the thing is that you just never will get absolutely every single functionality that you have dreamed of. It doesn't happen. If you think about it, every organization is different. People are different. You have different culture. You have the legal aspect. You have business specific requirements. Companies are different. It is not possible for vendors to develop something that will fit absolutely everyone. Again, unless you have a very flat setup and you don't really need much.
And again, your organization keeps evolving. So it's important to stay in touch closely with your vendor as well.
I agree,
This is what we
100%.
need now, but we're moving here towards, and we may need this or that. How do you see this? We've heard other customers saying this, and we're actually building this. It's on the roadmap.
I'm fully with you on this one. Is there something else that is most common myth or misconception about WFM tools?
Yeah, I think the expectations from, for example, agents. And it's a fun topic, or
Oh,
not really, but
mhm.
you're going to be Big Brother. You're watching us, right? You're going to be a
Yeah.
police officer saying that we can't go to the toilet anymore. Those things.
Yeah, so adherence, I hear you. It's a very hot topic. So if you don't do that at the moment, it is quite a big change. So I would say that another very important thing, maybe the most important part actually, is to do change management because things will change for everyone. It will change for your planners, it will change for your team leaders, it will change for your agents. So if you want to secure adoption, you need to be able to explain to all of the different stakeholders why you're doing that, what do you want to achieve, and how things will change for the different roles. And again, we shouldn't be thinking about limitation. I'm going to be monitored when I'm going to the toilet, because even right now, without your adherence, you can be monitored when you're taking a personal break. We need to be thinking about, oh, it's very cool. I don't have to ask my planner every single time when I would like to take a vacation. I can just apply, and in case all the rules are met, it's going to be automatically granted for me. Or, oh, I don't need to log into whatever kind of system on site to see what my schedule is. I can just open my app and see it instantly when I'm scheduled to work.
I got one last, and that is that WFM software is only for the bigger companies.
Or very expensive. Let me add to this one. It's going to be extremely expensive to have a WFM software in place. Yeah. I actually really respect that with different vendors, because some of them are quite niche. So they would for sure say, okay, we're only applicable or suitable for organizations that are above 200 seats or above 500 seats. So they would already potentially advise you that it is not the right solution for you. And I actually quite respect that, rather than having someone who comes to me and tells me, you have 2 agents, doesn't matter. The return of investment is going to be amazing. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that there are many different softwares. Some of them are even specializing into smaller organizations. And you have different payment options. So some of them are costing you licenses in advance. So you need to buy a certain amount of licenses, no matter if you're using them or not. Some of them are charging you whatever you have as active users. This is what you're going to be paying us for. So you have so many different options. And the point that I'm going to, or trying to get across, is that it's not necessarily a very expensive tool to have, but it can definitely bring a lot. Sometimes it might not bring you anything if you're not willing to change your processes and to utilize the tool as it should.
Yeah, I mean, in short, invest your time in understanding your specific needs as an organization, align the software with your goals, get training, proper training, and maintain an open line with all of your stakeholders, basically, throughout the whole process of implementing.
I love that. Any final word of advice?
Ooh, that's always a tricky one, because you can only say one thing, right?
Oh, you can always edit under the post. Don't worry about it.
All right. I would say talk to other people in your network. What would you do with these unique needs? How does that work for you? What would you have done differently? And again, you may choose something based on your requirements now. Maybe in 1, 2, 3, 4 years, your requirements are completely changed, and another tool would be the better fit. It is not a bad thing to periodically check whether this is still the right solution for you.
Love that.
I think that is my final advice there.
I will absolutely join you in this one, and absolutely ask for advice, ask for recommendation, just even reach out to different people on LinkedIn and just ask them what is their opinion, or how they're handling different problems that they're facing in their organization, and people are more than happy to help.
Yeah, people seem very willing to share their best practices, but also very open about what they could have done differently. And I think that is the beautiful thing about our jobs.
I agree. And thank you for this one.
You too.